Alright, welcome back to Kamen Review, episode 279. We are here reviewing episodes 4 through 7. I was going to do 6, but I did a little research. Apparently, since episode 1 was a standalone episode, every couple episodes is a two-parter. So, in the case of episodes 4 and 5, this is mostly put basically featuring, well, there's a cat phantom, and pretty much basically the gate is pretty much basically inside. The gate is basically a pianist who has been lacking skill. He's been not as good as he once was, and the whole point is to also this cat phantom is very lazy. He'd rather just sleep or just lie about. Of course, he gets kind of beaten up by, of course, basically Wizard. Also in the case of Kamen, we find out the fact that she is a doll. Implying the fact she did die, and apparently she basically is kept alive thanks to Haru's mana. They do a couple times. First time was like, oh, it's time for that, okay. And the second time he does it, it was after her mana was drained by Medusa Phantom, and then she is. The whole thing is also her being active in this two-parter. Renko and Sebu basically are just there helping out, and they're basically there. Now, Renko does actually do some stuff here. She does some research on the game himself. It's actually surprisingly really good, this particular two-parter. And, of course, they beat the Phantom at the very end. And, of course, thanks to this two-parter, Kaname accepts the other two with no issue. In the next two-parter, the whole thing is basically where a wine taster, well, he's basically another phantom, where basically he's after a particular person who has the gate. Now, there's a couple he goes after, but thing is, who has the gate after? Is the guy or the girl? It turns out it's actually the girl, who turns to be a con artist who's conning Surobu, the owner of the antique shop, and the employee of the donut cart that Hiro basically, well, buys his plain sugar donuts from. I think he's like, oh yeah, he wants plain sugar donuts. So I fact that she wants to try other stuff. No, he likes the sugar donuts, and basically that's the thing of his, like, try eating those things. Though he never finishes them, sadly. So, yeah, I like the fact Renko get a chance to do something here, where she's here actually protecting. Well, it turns out the guy is actually a billionaire. Yes, he is in fact a billionaire. And it turns out he met the girl in this too. By the way, the girl is actually from Kamen Rider, believe it. She's a Kamen Rider alumni. She was actually previously in Den-O as one of the female leads of the show, and she's back here for this quick little two-parter, which I thought was really interesting, the fact they brought her back here. And she's a con artist, but here's the thing. She's not a standard con artist. Basically, she's out people's money to buy her childhood home in order to being destroyed. And the whole thing is basically like, oh, our Swarme, basically he's a wine taster, and pretty much basically he's not as lazy as the last guy. He's like, yeah, I think of something, and of course he goes out and he fights him, and of course at one point he sets the home on fire, though Aromu basically puts thing out and fights him and then defeats him, and Phoenix gets very angry, like, oh, I need to take him on so badly, like his fellows get right because, you know, he's a Birdman. Which, by the way, this is the second time we've had a Birdman in the second straight Kamen Rider show. Actually, well, it's not the second straight one because basically there was not technically a Birdman in the last one. There was one of those, and his name was Ankh. And not much development on basically, and of course, sure, he does nothing. I like the fact Renko is there. She's not doing very much in this particular two-parter, but I do appreciate her being there. She's basically there the whole time. I mean, she doesn't miss basically much of screen time. She's there. And though she gets contacted by her boss, the chief of police, like, oh, are you investigating phantoms again? Yeah, it's a very, very brief scene. in the case of Wizard, for this particular one, yeah, it's a very brief scene with the chief of police. This was his first appearance in the show since episode 2. He does appear in the movie after this, but next time in the show, episode 16, and after that, he doesn't appear again to episode. He does not appear very much in this show at all. He is just vaguely there. Yeah. I think in the case of this one, he is just here just to be annoying. That is pretty much basically what he's here for. Yeah, he's just here just to be an annoyance. Yeah, that's pretty much the whole point of this particular scene here with him. He doesn't really do anything per se. Not really, no, but I'm definitely looking forward to what remains here. Now, pretty much basically there's a movie coming up very, very much looking forward to watching. So the movie itself is actually going to be after episode 13. I'll talk about that when I get to it, but it's going to be quite interesting to discuss this movie. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it particular video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. So for a bit now, for the next one, it's going to be 4 episodes again. After it's been 2 episodes, then the movie, and then it's back to the show for 4 more episodes. After I was going to pause 18, but it turns out because of the 2-part thing, I have to stop at 17, and then I'll go back to 5s, get that on break, and then Zenkai's back here, and so forth, okay? But see you next video. Bye.